primarily stick to the agenda of what is it that I'm doing that I can share and educators around can benefit from. This is the second webinar in a series of 10, and it has already reached over 14,000 educators in 28 countries, which tells us the need of such a session. On behalf of IKRI, I thank Stuti, Apurva, Riyajit, and Parwana for volunteering to share their learning with us. And also, I salute leaderships of the Khaitan School Noida, Shiv Nadar School Noida, the Sri Ram School Aravali, and UCSI International School in Malaysia for sending their school ambassadors to share their best practices. Now, before I sign out, for at least right now, I have a special request for participants who are joining us through Facebook. There is one thing that Facebook participants can do that Zoom users can. They can share this presentation live with teachers on their friend list by just sharing this webinar as it happens and help their colleagues learn a thing or two from these four people who speak after me. And for those people on their friend list who are not teachers, who are perhaps parents of children across the world, they can learn how teachers across the world are concerned about the very best comes through them to their children. So you'd be doing mankind or humankind a favor by sharing it live through your personal timeline. For people who are connecting through us through Facebook, there are times when you feel, how do I ask a question? If you just put a question on your timeline, we should be able to take that to the panelists today. Hope that we are able to answer these questions in live on the live feed, and if not, we would make attempts to address them as we go forward. From the previous experience, we now know there would be questions on, will you be sharing these slides with everyone? Answer to that is yes. Everything that happens in the next 45 minutes will get shared with everybody. Wait till tonight or at most till tomorrow, and all of this will become a part of everybody's experience and everybody's feedback. We do hope through this initiative, we're expecting that we will be able to touch about 150,000 educators across the world through the 10 webinar series, and hope we would have made together a little impact to those millions of kids who are counting on us in these times of confinement, in these times of lockdown. Without further ado, I will take my leave for this little timer that I have for myself, which all of you have as well. Some people call it the kitchen timer, tells me that my time's over. And I'm hoping other speakers today have something like this to remind them of the time they have as well. I hand the session over to Pallavi, who's the founder of Hire, to take this section forward, and hope all the technology works. But if it doesn't, it's absolutely fine. We perform and we deliver even at times when technology doesn't. Thank you very much. I'm sure you'll have a good time. Pallavi, all yours.
Thank you very much for that, Aruna. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to today's webinar on creating lesson plans for remote teaching. I'd like to thank Fiki Arise for bringing us on board for this exciting initiative to connect educators from around the world and to share classroom ideas that have worked as schools have moved online. I'm delighted to be sharing this space with our four innovative educators for today's panel. We have with us Stuti Sinha, who's joining us from the Shiv Nadar School. Stuti is the Deputy Primary School Coordinator. We also have with us Apurva Kumar. Apurva is the Primary English Deputy Coordinator at the Khaitan School in Noida. Welcome, Apurva. And we're also joined with us by Priyajit Sandhu. Priyajit is working with the Sri Ram School Junior at Aravali, and Priyajit is the math faculty for their primary school. And last but not the least, we have with us Parwana Julieva. Parwana is the primary homeroom teacher at the UCSI International School in Malaysia. So thank you all of you teachers for joining us here today. We're very, very excited to have you with us and to learn from your experiences. Before we begin today's proceedings, a couple of housekeeping rules in addition to what Aruna has already pointed out. You'll all see at the bottom of your screen a chat button as well as a button Q&A. We'd request you to post all your observations, your sharings, and your general comments in the chat box, and your questions, and specifically only your questions in the Q&A box. This is so that we know when we've got a question as opposed to a simple appreciation. So we can the questions come to us faster that way. We'll keep typing out answers to your questions, like Arunabh said, and we'll also try and take some of these questions live while the speakers are giving their presentations. So without further ado, I'll get started with today's discussion, and I'll start by sharing my screen and take you over with everything that we're going to be addressing in today's session. So here goes. Right. Creating lesson plans for remote teaching, and we know that a lot of us have been struggling with understanding what sort of lesson plans should I create. Should I simply use the plans that I was using for my regular classroom teaching and learning? Will those work perfectly for online teaching? Should I adapt something based on whether students are working with me in live classroom lessons or whether I'm assigning them work at home, which they will need to do at their own time? So all of these different questions, as well as designing different activities that suit your plans, understanding why you're choosing some of these activities, are some of the things that we are going to be covering in today's lesson. So essentially, we're going to be looking at the three key elements of planning: the what of planning, the why of planning, and the how of planning. Under the what of planning, we're going to be looking at what should I plan for. We've got a lot of considerations in place, particularly with regards to student readiness and so on. So how should I go about putting all of those, plugging all of those considerations into my planning process? We then also look at why are we designing the way we're designing our lesson plans or our unit plans or our perhaps even plans for the entire remote teaching period. Moving on then to how am I going to make sure that my plan is on mark, that everything that I had planned for is getting achieved. So in terms of the what of planning, the first thing that we probably want to consider is the organizational or stakeholder readiness. And what is some of this readiness that we want to consider when we're planning? The most important thing that goes into the lesson plan for any teacher is actually the larger school mission and vision. What does the school want its students as well as its teachers to derive out of all of these amazing education experiences that are designed? What sort of students do we want to be able to see passing out of the gates of our institutions? What sort of teachers and what sort of teacher leadership do we want to have in place in the classroom? So whatever we plan for, be it remote teaching, be it crisis teaching as it is right now, our advice to teachers and educators out there is to not lose sight. Simply when not lose sight of this mission and this vision, this larger objective of your school or of your education institution when you're planning online, simply because your classes have moved online and you're now no longer meeting your students in person or no longer conducting these classes in brick and mortar classrooms. The school mission and vision needs to remain integral to whatever plans you're putting out there, and everything else must emerge from that school vision and mission. So the first crucial step in aligning your school's mission and vision with your planning is to make sure that your stakeholders, all your stakeholders, including parents, teachers, as well as your students and your administrative bodies, are all in sync with what you plan for. Are they ready? Are students prepared to take live classes online? How are they going to be able to access these resources that you're going to put out for them? Your teachers might be spending hours making beautiful videos on YouTube or on personal video channels and posting them for your students, but can your students actually access them? That must be considered in the what of your planning. What is it that I'm planning for? What is my environment? What is my stakeholder readiness? Are my parents on board? Will they be able to make sure, and this is particularly true for primary school students, will they be able to make sure that their child can sit uninterrupted in front of a computer screen for 30 to 40 minutes? Are they going to be able to help onboard the child with some of the tools that you're planning on using in the classroom? Do you require parental monitoring of of the activity that you've assigned? So all of those other things need to go into the plan as well. Very importantly, and perhaps one of the reasons why we're here today as well, what do the teacher capabilities look like? Are we ensuring in some ways that we as teachers are helping out our peers? Have we planned for that? Have we planned for departmental collaboration? Have we planned for ways in which we can actually reach out to another teacher who's struggling with a tool and is perhaps not able to do the same activity that you had planned for that same grade? More so for school leadership and for educational leadership within grades. What sort of mechanisms have we put in place to make sure that teachers are not feeling absolutely overwhelmed with the kind of tools and the planning processes that are in place? And very crucially, the structuring and the pacing of your online teaching and learning. How are you going to plan out your day? Are you going to have all your lessons within a particular time span of say 2 to 3 hours? Or are you going to pace out these activities over the entire week and perhaps then leave the students to work on their own time with perhaps a little bit of parental monitoring? So this structuring, this pacing of be it synchronous learning, which is live classroom teaching and learning, or asynchronous learning, where students are going back and doing something in their own time. Are we making sure that we have put these structures in place after considering stakeholder readiness? So that's the what of planning. And we're going to be asking Priyajit and Apurva to share some of their experiences with stakeholder readiness as well as organizational planning and the pacing of their lessons as we go along in the session. The next is the why of the planning. Why am I planning what I'm planning? What is the rationale behind the choice of activity? Do I know exactly what I want my students to be able to learn? And today's session with Stuti is going to actually ask some of these very important questions, which actually come out of the backward design learning process, where we keep the student learning objectives and outcomes in sight when we are designing our lessons in a certain manner. Stuti is also going to be talking to us a little bit today about some of the tools that we can use when we are going about doing this backward lesson design and keeping the students' wider learning objectives in place when we're going about designing our lessons. Last today, we're going to be talking about the how of planning. How am I making sure that everything that I had planned for is actually going as per this plan, which is very, very crucial to really be able to check student understanding as well. Are my students where I need them to be? Did I design for them to be here at this point in time in my lesson? And if they're not there, if they haven't got to where I wanted them to be at, what am I going to do about it? What should I recalibrate or redesign in my lessons to be able to make sure that the student learning outcomes which have gone into my lesson design are actually being achieved? And then what are some tools that I can use for this? And to do that, we're going to be having Parvana talking to us about how she's gone about recalibrating and redesigning and rechecking for some of these, for some of her lesson plans and sequences. So that, in a nutshell, is the what, why, and how of planning, which we're going to
Okay. 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 CBSE authorized. Okay. That's. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Primarily stick to the agenda of
Hmm.
what is it that I'm doing that I can share and
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
I'm going to take you further. I'm going to walk you through how we have planned our classes and we have divided into three parts. Moving forward, the first and most important part of our class is a video tutorial which the teacher prepares. It's a teacher's tutorial to be very precise. There, the teacher takes up the given topic or the subtopic in detail. We have tried to introduce varied introductions, giving real life examples, concept revealed directly, or referring to previous knowledge, the earlier topics. And the whole purpose is to break the routine for the students, by rotating between different type of introductions. The whole purpose is to keep their attention right here with us. Next, and the most important point for us as teachers as a guideline is to keep it very simple. The language that we are talking, speaking in. We don't want the students to get confused. We don't want to complicate it further for the little kids and leave them frustrated because they're already multitasking and adapting themselves to this new world of online teaching. So we try to keep the language very simple so that the reception is clear and better. We engage them in this teacher tutorial through videos, images, songs, various activities, interdisciplinary connect. You could include games, experiments that will vary from subject to subject. And to end the video with, we leave them with a thinking cap on. We always end our video tutorial with a little task for them. It could be a hot question posed for them, a research work given, an art integration activity associated with the topic that you were doing. This will help the child recapitulate the topic as well as understand better that are they clear with the concept that was taught through the video tutorial. So it's a teacher's video tutorial I'm talking about. The teachers are themselves preparing by using various tools like Zoom or online. There are various tools available and they are creating videos to make it friendly and easier for the kids, to make it more approachable for them to understand. Coming to the second part of our class, the videos are usually 20-22 minutes long, and after that, the child has to go for assessment. In Google Classroom, we post all the material together, and the child comes next to self assessment. What I'm talking about here is MCQ based quizzes. We have all heard of Google Forms. Google also gives us a very clear opportunity to create a quiz out of a form. You can create a quiz with multiple choice questions, which has, and you can incorporate answers and also give them the marks. So it's all self-read. When the child attempts the quiz, it immediately shows the scores to them. So when I'm saying that with every subject, every topic, the child gets a quiz, I'm not talking about increasing the teacher's workload here. Believe you me, if you get a hang of it, it's a very easy practice to incorporate. The child then and there feels self-motivated. He can evaluate himself or herself as to their reception, their understanding, or clarity of the concept. Were they able to understand the video or not? Moving on, after the assessment, we have also started a new type of assessment that is just to keep them at it. We started with a monthly assignment recently, and it was a mixed bag of subjective as well as objective question. From the experience I'm sharing, I'm definitely going to say it was a hit. Students enjoyed coming online and participating in doing the assignments also. And in an online class, once they are done with the quiz, comes the most exciting part of our class, the live session. Along with the material uploaded, we also give them a link for the Google Meet, which they use to immediately join us within 20 minutes of the class. The teacher is waiting them, and that is our dose of sanity. Very truly, I'm telling you, it gives me and my students a sense of motion, a sense of moving forward in spite of being stuck in Corona, quarantine at home. It gives us a sense of being back to normal, being back with the class, the beautiful grid view that Google offers you, where I can view all my 40 students together on screen at once. Gives me a vibe that I'm back into my classroom with my students. And the most important part of that live session is that don't leave any doubt unanswered. Clarify all the queries that the students have come up with, any problem area that they face, or a theme or a topic they could not understand that's taken up in the live session. The whole purpose is to involve every student to build on their participation and, of course, confidence. And the kids are so excited; they want to share their work and eagerly excited to be with their classmates to talk about what they've done. For me, as a language teacher, I'll say my biggest fear is that my child should not forget to write. So, pen, paper, and a notepad is a must in the live session when they come and meet me. I also try to involve them with writing practices. But again, I say it can vary from subject to subject how the teacher wants to pick up this live session and come up with interactive activities. I'll just quickly add few Google More tools there. We've used tools like Jamboard. You can share your screen and do live interactions through sharing slides and activities also. That can also play a very active part, an interesting part in your live session. So that is how we've planned at the Katan School, our 40-minute classroom that we have planned for our kids. And it has come up very interestingly. The students have been enjoying it. It's a learning experience. It's a structure, but again, I'll say not so structured that we are not acceptable to flexibility. It's fluid in the way that we have regular meetings with our departments, with teachers, to identify the problem areas, to understand where we can work on. Because it's an evolving technology, a new process, a learning process for all of us. So we've started incorporating few more activities. I'll just quickly walk you through them. We did these activities with our students last week, and they were such a hit. We did show and tell sessions and just a minute activity with our class 1, 2, and 3 students, and they came out in full participation. As you can see in the picture, the grid view shows all your 40 classmates are together at one view, and that's the perfect vibe of being in a class, packed into the classroom. With class 4 and 5, we took a flip teaching. Now, what is flip, you ask? Flipping is just exchanging roles. We flipped the roles. My students became the teachers for the day, and I was just a silent spectator. They made such beautiful presentations, informative work being shared by them, prepared quizzes for their friends, and did such an excellent job. That made my job definitely easier, and it was a great interactive way to involve all the students. No one feels left out as it's full participation. And more importantly, I feel we are giving the kids a platform for public speaking even while they are at home. It definitely boosts their confidence and encourages them to push their limits. So that were very few interesting activities we came up with. I'm going to bring my slide to an end, my PPT to an end with this last slide of balanced timetable. The ongoing crisis is causing a lot of stress, and is, of course, cases of depression are coming amongst all age groups and sections of society. As a school, of course, we are concerned. As a teaching community, we are concerned about our students. And we want to provide them the scope of distressing by enjoying themselves and doing what they enjoy the most, the co-curricular activities. That's the motto of our school. We have a holistic approach, and that's what we have tried to infuse from in classroom to online. We have tried to maintain that balance of timetable even in our online classes. The way we were doing in traditional school, we have all sorts of activity like music, dance, culinary skills, art. We have also conducted assemblies. You can see this girl holding a poster of Earth Day. The students themselves conducted assemblies, and it's a perfect, amazing way for students to enjoy themselves. They do not feel burdened being provided back to back in the English, math, science subject. They have an activity to look forward to give them a break in between. And with that, I come to end of my slide. I feel that balance in timetable is the most important factor because it ensures physical activity, and it provides a platform for experiential learning for the students and experimental learning for the students. I'll just take one more second as my computer screen is already being shared with you, and I'll just show you how does a Google Classroom look like. It's very easy to adapt, and there we go. That's it. As easy as this is how a classroom looks like. You can post all your material. That's our teacher's tutorial. That's question answers. This is the quiz that student attempts. And this is the link with which the kid can come to the Google Meet. So it's very easy to adapt. I'm definitely going to share a few links with you, which will help you understand and get a little better clarity about Google Classroom.
That's it. Thank you. That's it from my end. Thank you so much, Pallavi. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that very, very informative presentation of Kuba. It was very interesting to see how you and your school have gone about structuring lessons across, three separate sections. And I think that that makes it much simpler for students also to be able to know what to expect and to be prepared in that sense as well. We do have a couple of questions, and I thought we'd quickly take these before we move on to our next speaker. And I thought perhaps anybody on the panel, whoever would like to take these questions, could just let us know if you'd like to answer that. The first one was access to resources in terms of students not being able to come online and attend classes. Have any of you had that trouble? And how was it that you've kept students motivated to keep coming and attending classes? Would anybody like to take that question? Apurva, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just reinstate the fact that Google Classroom is a blessing in disguise for classes like these, because once I post my material, it always stays there, and the child does not have to fear the inability or the sources not being available. The laptop, there's one laptop, and all the parents are trying to work from online from home, and every child is trying to attend the class. Google Classroom is a boon that way because all the material once posted stays there forever, and it is accessible for the students anytime. So there, I have a Google Form quiz being submitted to me even by night or next day, whenever, as the convenience. So you can definitely give Google Classroom a try for that.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you for that suggestion, Apurva. Priyajit, there was one question that came in specifically for you about the video tutorials that your school has been using. And somebody wanted to know what are some of the tools that you are using to actually create these and send them out to the students. Would you like to tell us a little bit about those?
So the easiest tool to use is Movie Maker, and for a really really basic video, what is really easy to do is to create it on PowerPoint. Put your slides on PowerPoint and then save it as a movie file. But Movie Maker is actually a very very user friendly and a very easy tool. We use a lot of that the video model.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Priyajit. Thank you, Apurva. We'll keep coming back for more questions. And now I'd like to give the floor over to Stuti, who's actually going to be talking to us a little bit about the design part of lesson planning. We've heard from Apurva and Priyajit about how we should go about structuring it and adjusting it to stakeholder needs. And Stuti will now talk to us a little bit about what goes into the designing of these lesson plans. So, Stuti, over to you.
Thank you, Pallavi. And I just like to share the screen here. So here we are, and I think that we don't fully identify with the teacher there, sitting in front of Madam Susan, right? So when it comes to planning, it absolutely is a nail-biting affair at times, especially taking up what Priyati spoke about, realigning and recalibrating the annual plan, and then Abuba spoke about the 40-minute session. So what goes into putting those 40-minute sessions together? How do you get to actually planning those 40-minute sessions is what we are going to talk about today. So what we do here at school, at Shivlada School Noida, we use the backward design model. So we keep the end in mind so that we know what is it that we want the students to learn, right? And how do we then look at evidences and the plan for instruction. So it has three key stages to it. So we identify the desired results, then we look at the evidences that we want to collect for students learning, and then we plan our instruction or experience. Likewise. How do we go about identifying desired results? That's an interesting question that comes to mind, right? So what we do is in our units, we have big ideas, right? So for example, I'll take the example of the current unit that's running in school so that it gives you a little clarity of how we went about doing it. So the unit that's currently running in grade 4 for us is what is essential to life and is a limited resource for many people. Now, if this is the big idea that I want the students to understand, what is the kind of end result or end of unit result that I'm looking at? So To some extent, if we look at the goal, we establish the goal or the end result, right? So here, we thought that we could look at students creating awareness campaigns related to responsible consumption of water. It could also be little campaigns about how to wash hands and how to turn off the taps and things like that. And they could use different learning pathways from languages to arts to taking up any roles that they want to take up. They could be journalists or bloggers. So if we are going to take up these roles and we are giving them the choice of roles, we need to prepare them for taking up these roles, right? So that brings us to some of the objectives in our language classes that we are looking at as to what is it that they should be looking at when they are actually looking at the role. What skills are they? What are the bigger objectives that I need to achieve through my lesson? And it ties up beautifully with the essential questions that we have on the big idea. So the big idea basically is the EBS unit plan, right? And all the languages and other subjects, wherever they can integrate, they beautifully come in and integrate. So here you see a bit of integration happening between EBS and this. So if we move ahead and if we have our eyes on the essential questions here, then we could definitely see that the essential questions help us pick up skills that are needed, like research skills or correlation and association, observation. So then it helps us design our activity. Moving forward, now that's the first stage. Now that it brings us to our second stage. We have to first put together the list of evidences that we think we'll be collecting during the course of the year. So what are the different evidences that can come our way? One, of course, is going to be based on the goal that we have put across, which is the submitted product, right? And it will depend on the role they pick up. But before they reach the submitted product, there is a lot that goes in. Let's see some of the evidences that we can collect, right? All the formative tasks that happen along the way. A reflective journal on the process that the child has undertaken. And of course, the summative product, right? It could be an article, a blog, whichever role they pick up, they could choose the product that coincides with that role. Now, for us, now that we are, not in face-to-face classrooms and we are remotely collecting evidences for learning, Seesaw as a platform, an online tool, was really helpful for the primary students. We are talking about children from age to 7, 6 to 10, right? So this is how the platform looks, right? And we actually go about creating our engagements on the platform. It is assigned to the student. And the best part is that it is actually helping in building the portfolio of the student. So if you look here, beneath my class name, you can see some student files here. And each file has all the students' work that has been coming in, that they have been posting as response. At any point in time as a teacher, I can always go back and check on evidences to look at the, whether the progress has been made, how are they learning the skills, how are they tying up the concepts, and all of that. And I can always create my anecdotes from there. These are some of the evidences. These are evidences from my class, and these are a few things that we've been doing, and simultaneously we've been collecting evidences as well. So the stage 3, now that we know that we have to collect evidences, we have put down a broad, outline of what sort of evidences we are looking at, brings us to the part where we break it down into smaller chunks, right? And how do we do that? So we always keep our goal in mind. We know that this is the goal, right? And then we look at which objectives are tying up, as we did before, and we then break it down into smaller engagements. So here I'm sharing something for the language engagement here, so that it ties up with what we are trying to do. Since this is talking about campaigns, so it will be a lot to do with informational writing, and that's why these are the smaller engagements that we are broken into. You can see them as they come up, and if you see that there is a lot that goes in before they publish their final piece, and each key stage that is happening here is a stage which gives us an opportunity to collect the evidence for learning for a formative attempt, right? And then it leads up to the summative product. we are looking at what goes into that live session, synchronous learning, right? And then what goes as a follow-up engagement on Seesaw is beautifully planned. So a lot of concept building, understanding the process, co-creating checklists, all that happens during the online session so that the children are clear about the process. So a lot of teacher charts, some I have put up here for you. These are that I'm using. And this is how we design our engagements on Seesaw. This is the platform we are using. So this is a view of my library. And as you can see, there are a lot of engagement tasks that are here that get assigned to students. Just to give you a little overview of how an activity or an assignment looks, you can put in a graphic organizer, you can put in a checklist, you can put in a voice instruction. It gives you a lot of variety of things that you can play with, and it's ready to be assigned. Click on assign and it goes into your students folder, and they are all ready to add a response to it, right? And you can always give feedback on it, and that's how the learning continues. Thank you, Pallavi, for giving this opportunity to share.
Thank you so much for that fantastic presentation, Stuti. And Seesaw is always very, very exciting to see. It's such a great tool, and I've seen that even in our question and answer sessions, a lot of people asking, how can I assess written work? How can I assign longer activities? So for all those of you who are asking, Seesaw is a great option for doing exactly that. And Stuti just showed you all the different wonderful activities that she was doing with her students on Seesaw. So that's great. I'm going to now, from this lovely design process, I'm going to now take us over to Parvana. Parvana is actually going to be talking to us about the end process of this entire exercise, which is when the plan actually goes into motion in the classroom. How do we make sure that everything that you plan for is actually going as per the book? And what are you going to do if it's not? So Parvana has some tricks and tips up her sleeve that she'd like to share with us. So Parvana, over to you. And on special request, I'm going to be sharing Parvana's slides. So Parvana, let me know when you'd like me to go ahead.
Okay. So it's evening in Malaysia. Good evening, everyone. Hey. So I'd like to start my presentation with saying teachers need teachers. So thank you for being here with us. Thank you so much. So if my presentation is ready, Ms. Pallavi, I want to continue.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So today I'm going to talk about the importance of feedback. So as the other panelists mentioned that students are the center of our planning. Am I right? Absolutely. Students are the center of our planning. And as a teacher, how well we use that environment to nurture students' learning. So I'm sure everyone asks this question, right? So feedback is the most important powerful influence on learning and achievement, and it is a great tool to help us to find the holes in our lesson plan. And of course, it's going to help us and learning and promote students' learning and to help them in their learning process. So I can't see my presentation, sorry. And then providing information specifically relating to tasks and process of learning. And it's powerful when it's addressed the right time. Of course, we never say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to give my feedback, or tomorrow I'm going to check my lesson plan, I'll see how it is. No, it should be on time. And obviously, checking for students' understanding and readjust planning. Each feedback question works at 4 levels: task level, process level, self-regulation level, and self level. What is task level? We mentioned that how well tasks are performed and understood. Process level, the main process needed to be understood and performed quite well. Self-regulation level, self-monitoring and regulation of the action, and of course, self-evaluation evaluation. So it comes self-assessment, personal evaluation. For this, I'm gonna talk about visible thinking routine from Project Zero, and it is Harvard University project, and it is very helpful for taking feedback and giving feedback. Why taking feedback? Feedback is very important because it shows where we are and it shows where is our next step. So they design this visible thinking routine in each stage of learning. So we might think that feedback only happens end of the learning process. No, it happens each stage of the learning process. When we introduce and when we explore the idea. Okay, we're gonna use interesting visible thinking routines like See, Think, Wonder, Talk, which is very famous. I know lots of teachers know that, and Zooming. It helps to scaffold students' learning, document students' learning, and it helps to build group thinking, and it helps us to make interesting discussions in the classroom. Identify the areas where more information is needed. Again, it shows where is our next track, where should be. Evaluate and make judgments about the topic. And of course, next stage is now you're in the middle of your lesson plan or your unit, so you can use another physical thinking routine that will help you activate prior knowledge, make connections between new ideas and prior knowledge, and always to recognize ongoing questions. What puzzles your students? And you will reflect their learning and explore how their thinking has changed. So it happens when you synthesize and organize your students' ideas. So I'm gonna share all those materials in Padlet. So Ms. Malavi is gonna provide all those materials. Then, of course, end of your unit, end of your lesson plan, digging deeply into ideas. This is another stage of our lesson or unit plan or lesson plan. What we elaborate on thinking that lies behind their responses. Foster a disposition towards evidential retention and explain their reasoning, asking questions from different perspectives and engaging in enhanced discussion. This is digging deeper into ideas routine. And why it is essential for planning. Why feedback is essential for planning? Because it helps think at each step along the way before moving on to the next one. So where we are to help the documenting students' thinking and their learning process. And obviously it determines our next stage and will help focus on thinking and directing learning. Of course, this is our main responsibility to support students' ongoing learning. These are the materials that we can use, but I want to share another material that digital platforms we can use for feedback that I'm using Loop Edu and PeerGrade for giving and taking feedback. Of course, I'll attach the tutorial in our Padlet platform so everyone can see there. Thank you for listening, guys. Olavi?
In the middle. I was trying to follow what you were saying and try and make sure I don't move the PPT too fast. But thank you so much. Some very interesting insights from everybody, from those lovely tools in terms of Loop as well as PeerGrade, both great assessment tools for people to be able to use. Thank you very much for that. There are a couple of questions that we wanted to take before we close today's proceedings. The first one was to do with if any teachers have, or any faculty, or any panelists have any ideas about how we can handle the challenge of students who don't have access to laptops or technology at home, particularly primary school students. What are some suggestions that anybody on the panel might have for teachers who are facing that problem? If anybody would like to take that question, Stuti, go ahead.
So, Pallavi, in our school, we have children from the neighborhood who do not have access to technology as much as the students who are at home right now. So for them, we have tried to bring them onto the Google Meet platform, and they are coming into our live classes. But in order to collect evidences and do a little bit of feedback and checking up on them, we are using apps like Google Duo and at times WhatsApp as well. So they are able to submit their videos, their pictures of their work, and they recorded voices, and they record and they send it, and we are then collecting it up from there and putting it into a digital portfolio for them. So that's how we are maintaining a digital.
That's great. And one last question which we saw coming in very, very often was how do we limit screen time as for students and make sure that our planning accommodates for enough options outside of screen time for students to be able to do. So any suggestions on that, panelists? Sure, go for it. Priyajit?
So I was just saying that it is like I also said that it is a losing battle that we are fighting as teachers and parents, because there is no other way of connecting with the children right now. But what a lot of teachers in school are doing is that the kind of assignments that they are giving the children do not require them to have screen time when the duty is time. For example, a project was given where the children had to go and observe the leaves in their balcony to find out how the different drainage systems work. Some projects like that where you don't necessarily have to research online, so you restrict your screen time only to the class. That's one way.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Priyaji.
Hello.
And with that, I'd like to thank all the speakers for these amazing presentations and to all the participants for asking such insightful questions, which we hope has been useful for others who've attended as well. I'd like to now hand over back to Aruna to close today's session.
Fine, thank you very much. Pallavi, you've given me the worst thing that has to be done today, and that is to shut this fantastic session. For all the panelists, this is something I expected of me. It's not something that I want to do, and I say this to the participants as well. You just have to come to a close. And just one last, parting thought. For the longest time, teachers were told that computers or technology will come in and you will become obsolete. I think as educators, in the last 1 month, we've understood this, that this is not true. So while technology may not replace us, not for the foreseeable future, but perhaps teachers who use technology effectively will replace those teachers who don't. So these are times for us to enable ourselves, to equip ourselves with tools that are available for us. One thing is for sure, all of us want to make sure that the students in our care get the very best. I once again thank Stuti, Parwana, Priyajit, and Apurva for sharing what they've been cooking in their kitchens and delivering through their Zoom or Google Classroom classes, and Pallavi for putting this entire piece together. For participants who've been with us for the last 1 hour, I understand that your classroom period usually lasts 40 minutes, so you've stayed on, which kind of gives all of our speakers some motivation to try and do this again. Like I said at the start of it, this is a 10 webinar series, and we are currently covering or uncovering how do you plan for these lessons. We would eventually be talking about what do you do when you are having these lessons, because we shouldn't forget even for a minute, when the child is on the internet listening to you, you're competing with everything that is on the internet for the attention of the child that is in front of you. So we will need to keep improvising and improving the offering that we offer. So the series will carry on going deeper into that. How do you engage that learner? How do you assess that learner? How do you assess yourself? And how do you eventually also build in parent participation? So stay clued in. All the PPTs, this webinar, link to the previous one as well. Everything's getting shared. So let's keep working together and stay happy. There is a light to the end of this tunnel. Thank you very much.